In this video, we have Amanda. How do you say your last name? Ballard?
Ballard.
Ballard. Okay. Like I'm like Mallard, but Ballard.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. I'm sure you've never heard that before, but she has a YouTube channel that she has started recently. So if you end up enjoying this podcast, definitely check that channel out. But Amanda, like, what are you working on right now that's like most exciting to you at the moment?
Oh, right now it's selling on the Walmart platform, and it's also training my third VA, because I am trying to implement systems and really make this business long term. So that's exciting that I'm putting a lot of work now so that the future me is less hands-on in the business. So
Yeah. So for context, let's say someone is like pretty new to this. I'm trying to make this like a balance of like accessible to people who have just gotten started or not even gotten started yet, and then also entertaining for people who like are pretty deep into this game as well. So you were selling Amazon FBA primarily for most of your business model, and that is fulfilled by Amazon. Basically, you send your items there, Amazon fulfills it to the customer when it sells. But now you're kind of switching to selling on Walmart. And are you doing FBA and FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant, or like what are you trying to do at the moment?
So I'm still doing Amazon. So I'm still doing FBA Amazon. It's still just, also in, still doing that as well. But Walmart, I'm doing both the FBA and the FBM model with Walmart. It's kind of testing out what items will sell, merchant fulfill with Walmart. And then if it sells, then I'll send it in. It's called WFS, which is just FBA for Walmart. So
yeah, it's crazy. Like a lot of people haven't even heard that you can sell on Walmart. I was curious. I think I literally heard that you can sell on Target, which is just fascinating. Not that I think I want to, but it's just crazy. Like you can sell on all these different platforms. But Walmart, the cool thing about Walmart, the little 20-second pitch for Walmart is Amazon probably has around 2 million sellers. But Walmart maybe has 150 to 200,000. But Walmart only gets maybe 25% of the sales. But if you look at that ratio and do the math, that's a great ratio, because that 25% of sales compared to Amazon is split between so many fewer sellers. Like, Amanda, I'm sure you've seen this multiple times. Like you'll see an Amazon listing, it'll have like 25 sellers, and then on Walmart there's 3 people.
Yeah.
2 people.
Yeah. The most competition I have on one listing is 9 other sellers, which this item is a very fast-paced selling item, but 9 other sellers, that's easy compared to Amazon where it's sometimes there's like 20 to 25. So yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So like in your business, what categories do you like the most, like pretty broadly speaking?
I like electronics. And I also I love electronics. They do really well. There's a certain brands I won't sell because of the return rate. Like I won't sell Netgear.
Netgear
returns.
Okay, Amanda, I have to say this.
Please.
a couple months ago, in one of that Reselling Freedom coaching calls, you were talking about Netgear.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it, and I'm like, man, I sell a lot of Netgear. And I was like, kind of like, should I tell her that like it's super profitable? But like I looked at my returns, and my returns were nuts with Netgear.
Really?
So like the thing about Netgear, and I made the choice, maybe I should make a video like why I stopped selling routers, or like why I stopped selling Netgear or something like that.
Yeah.
It was super profitable, but it was such a pain in the butt with returns. Like probably with Netgear, it was probably 25% return rate. And at the time, I was also doing a lot of open box, which that combination of high return rate and open box is just like okay, like on paper, it's going to be 140% ROI, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But then you get a 25% return rate. So like in addition to actually listing the items, you have to deal with returns. So that's like, so for those people who are watching, like that's a game you can play and it's profitable, but it's a pain in the butt. So you got to be like, you should be inspecting your items extremely well. Like it's not a good thing to just prep center this stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I was like, people were like saying Netgear's great for me. And I'm like I get the emails of returns and I always look at them and it's like Netgear. And I'm like, I'm done with Netgear. When you get 3 or 4 in a row. And they of course open them and try and like use the product. So then you can't, then you have to go through all that. And
yeah. It's interesting because I don't know if you've seen this before, but on Amazon, there's a certain page that says selection guidance. And so basically it gives some stats about like all these different categories on Amazon. And if you type, I think like modem router combination, like there was a certain ASIN I was selling. It was like a Motorola ASIN. And it was selling super quickly, but my returns was just nuts for it. And the base return rate for that category was like 23%. Like, oh my gosh. And that's for like something that's sealed, like in perfect condition, no problems. So they're high return rates with this stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, even though there are high returns, there's still a category that I like to sell in is electronics. So I'm still going to keep selling in it, just not those particular niche items.
Yeah. And the thing is like we're talking it down, but like we're talking about the very high return rate parts of electronics. Like there are other things that are like 4% return rate or like 6% or like 8%, which is like manageable.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at like a 4% return rate right now, which is, I think, pretty good. So
yeah, I would love to have 4% return rate. Yeah, I go a little bit more like kind of risky on it, I guess, but that's just how I usually end up doing it. But then there's more returns to process. But
yeah,
I would love to have 4% return rate. But okay, so I was probably at like 15% return rate just a couple months ago, and now I'm down to like 10. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So are you still selling used or are you only doing new?
Well, it's like liquidating all these routers, you got to sell used.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
That I don't target used stuff anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You just sell new.
Yeah, just new. Sometimes I'll go in thrifting and I'll get some books, but other than that, that's like 3% of my inventory. So yeah, I don't like used. It's just not my thing. So
not your thing. So have you, how have you found return rates to be on Walmart compared to Amazon?
They're a little higher, but I think, so I bought this cat food that was 3.5 ounces and it went out of stock or was discontinued. And so I was selling it for like $17 for one 3.5 ounce thing. So
like the little can?
Like a little tiny can, yeah, for like $18. And I bought it for $1.
E-commerce is what we love to see.
And I'm getting those returned a lot because I think people are mad that they're only getting one little thing for $18.
Yeah,
so,
fair enough. I guess.
So that's kind of, and I've sold like over 24 of them, and I probably have about 15 returned, but they come back unopened. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to create like a case, like a 12-pack, and sell it for $30 and see if like then they'll maybe be more happy about that, because when they get a little tiny thing in the mail for $18, I would be mad too. But
yeah, sometimes it's hard because it's like the data shows that it sells for 17, but it's like, are these people going to be happy buying that? Like,
yeah, and that's the thing too, is like I don't think that they were happy about it, and that's why they
like, bro, look at the listing before you buy. Like,
and that's it too. And I'm like, it's not my fault that you didn't look at it. So
that's one thing that happens a lot with used items. That's a problem that a lot of people have to deal with is they buy a used item. Let's say it's a $300 electronic, but it's in used good condition for 160. So they just see the 160 and buy it. And they return it and they say like, you sent me a used electronic, like this didn't even have the box, blah, 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 blah. So like some people they'll box in custom boxes and like have a label that says like used product or something, or they'll write on the bag, the poly bag, like used condition. So I do that with my liquidation and that helps.
Okay.
But
yeah, that's a good idea because I mean, but other than that, my Walmart returns are pretty low.
Yeah.
It's just this dog food or this cat food is skyrocketing my returns.
Yeah. Well, thankfully it's just a $17 item, but
yeah,
you still have to like sit there, open it, like find the transaction every single time.
Yeah. And the thing that I don't like about Walmart is the customer has your phone number. So I've gotten calls.
Yeah, someone called me. Do you answer?
I did on accident because I thought because like my sister calls me every morning at the same time. And so I thought it was my sister calling me. So I just picked it up and I didn't even notice. And this angry old lady.
Oh,
you
no.
sent me the wrong cat food. I did not. I thought I bought 12. And I'm like, you did not.
Yes. Was that the conversation?
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, I bought 12. And I'm like, no, you bought 2 single cases. And she's like, oh, well, I'm on a limited budget. Will you refund me? I'm like, yes, if you give me a 5-star review, because I had no reviews at that point. I said, I'll gladly refund you if you please give me a 5-star. And she did. She gave me a 5-star review.
Dealing on the phone.
Yeah. And so I felt bad for her. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a great, easy way to get a review.
Yeah. I've contemplated on reaching out to people in our, reselling community, be like, hey, will you buy this piece of candy for whatever and just give me a review? Because
I'm curious how strict Walmart is with that. Like if there was the 5% chance they catch you or something.
Yeah.
Amazon, they hate that with a passion. But
I don't know. I try and follow the Amazon rules for Walmart, because Amazon is so strict, but there are also some things where I'm like, I don't think it matters. So,
yeah. Well, I know like, I was talking to someone in the 𝗬 community and he says that he purchases reviews every once in a while. I'm just like, oh, interesting. But I don't think reviews matter so much where I'm like, I want to risk that. Like my Amazon feedback is pretty bad, but I still get sales. So it's like, okay, I don't think I need to go.
Yeah. And I think I don't know. I feel like sometimes you have to prove you're good and, you just have to, and no one will give you a chance until you prove it, So I personally don't think it's wrong to ask for reviews or pay for reviews for like a few, not like hundreds or thousands, but
Yeah. And it's like 2 things. Like number one, if I wanted to get my reviews to be better, like obviously I need to just sell products that people are happy with, like sell lower return rate products. So that's what I've moved to. And that's the way, like if I just buy reviews, like that's just putting a Band-Aid on the problem. Like I'm still going to have issues. Right. And then number 2, like a funny antidote is like, I don't know how funny it is actually, but just a friend of mine who he sells mostly used products on Amazon. I think he's a 7-figure seller. Like he usually sells about $1 million a year.
Wow.
He sells on Walmart, just recently started his account. I found his store. His feedback is 2 1-star reviews. And I've talked to him personally and he sells just fine. Like, so I don't know how
that's
much.
Crazy.
But I'm curious how much in sales he's missing out on because of that. But he's doing fine with it. Like he's selling through stuff. So,
well, so he must have a lot of reviews then. Just
I wonder what he has 2 1-star reviews. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my
crazy point. For how much he would sell.
Oh, I think he just started like a couple months ago.
Oh, okay.
And he's not 7 figures on Walmart. He's 7 figures on.
Oh yeah, Walmart is tough too, because I hear everybody or a lot of people get their first review as 1 star.
Because it's like the only person who cares is like an angry.
Yeah. So once I get an angry person, at least their 1 star review will like balance out that 5 star that I have.
Yeah, 2.5 stars better than 1, I guess.
Exactly.
So, okay, so your plan, we went way off on a rabbit trail there, but that's good. So the plan is you're still doing Amazon, but you're going to do Walmart as well. Like, what breakdown do you ideally want there?
I would like to do 250,000 a year on Amazon, and then I'd like to do 100,000 on Walmart for the end of this year. So
okay,
the big goal, but I think I can do it.
So you've had your Walmart account most of the year, right?
Yeah, my first sale was February 1st.
Okay.
So, but I do for Walmart, I do RA. So it's a matter of finding the time to go and do RA and listing and then packaging and stuff like that, which is a time-consuming thing.
Yeah, so you're doing WFS for Walmart mostly.
Yeah.
And then combined with so you're probably going for like the high ROI stuff, like trying to like maximize money as much as possible in that way.
Yeah, I do a lot of beauty products on Walmart for some odd reason, because I don't know why, but those are the easier things to sell, beauty products. So but I do want to branch out because Walmart requires you to have all these like extra documents to list beauty products, which just takes up more time at the end of the day. Because I do also have an employee who goes and helps me do RA. And so that's kind of nice. But it's still so time consuming. But
specifically the documents.
The SDS, yeah, the safety data sheets. You have they want to know what the chemicals are in the shampoo. And so finding those can be kind of painful.
I see. So how does this employee help?
She scans with me, and then she takes off stickers and poly bags.
So she comes in, she's in person, she's not just a
right.
Yeah. So how did you find an employee like that?
She's my cousin.
Cousin just needed some extra work?
Yeah, she's 19. So she's like, I kind of wanted to find someone who didn't have kids and was kind of more reliable. I'm not against kids, but, I kind of go at different times during the week when I can fit it in. And so she's just going to school. So we just work on her school schedule. Yeah. And so, yeah, she's 19. She's just kind of like, I go to school and I love shopping. So,
cool.
Yeah, it works out perfect. And I pay her $15 an hour. So it's not bad.
Flexible job, $15 an hour. Not bad.
Not bad. No.
Yeah.
So,
and also in addition to your cousin, you also have like 3 VAs now, right?
I do. Yeah.
Hiring that 3rd one, or what?
I did
with that.
Yep. I did end up hiring the 3rd one. Today is her 3rd week, I believe. No, she's working out great. The first time I interviewed her was a huge red flag.
And why was it a red flag?
Because I emailed her. So she was recommended by my other VA. My VA was like, I like this girl. Think she can work hard. She needs a job. Will you hire her? So I'm like, okay, because I trust you. I will give her, so I sent her an email. And I said at the bottom, if you are, or I sent her an email saying, this is what I do. Are you familiar with these softwares? And if you're ready, put in the subject line, I'm ready. So then she replied and said, I am ready. Like, that's it. Like, there was no, didn't verify the softwares, didn't have any, so I told my current VA, I'm like, this is not going to work. And she's like, please give her another chance. So I gave her another chance, and it's still working out. So
cool.
We will see if that burns or not.
Yeah, there's if you've been in the Amazon space for a while, there's a fun VA trick that you do to just kind of, if VAs are watching this, definitely pay attention, because
Yeah.
a lot of people in the Amazon community, and myself included, like when I'm hiring someone off of onlinejobs.ph, do the, like, I'll have the job description and I'll say somewhere in there, like, also tell me your favorite color or your favorite animal, or like some random question, but just to make sure that they actually read the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like we want people who are like actually gonna like read directions, follow directions, like be detail oriented.
Yeah.
It is kind of a big deal. It's good that like it's working out with this person regardless.
Yeah. She's doing really well. She hasn't made the same mistake twice, which is really great. Like I had a huge issue with my VA, my first VA, of purchasing DVDs under the 10,000 rank.
Did she just go hard on those quantity listings and you're like,
oh, yeah, I'm just like, if you buy one more 10,000 rank, we're gonna have a serious talk.
So for context, the reason why we care about this is because our friend Steve Rakin sold lots of DVDs, and basically his safety protocol for how to avoid or lower the chance of avoiding counterfeit DVDs is to just let's avoid the DVDs where there's a reason to counterfeit them, which is the fastest moving DVDs. So staying under or avoiding those fastest moving DVDs is just something that you can do to potentially like lower the chance of you selling a counterfeit, because it's like it's hard to just sit here and be like, okay, like this one's real, this one's not, et cetera, et cetera. And like she was probably purchasing those quantity listings that just look way too good to be true. They have like 8 of them, like they're from China. Like
yeah. And it was a lot of the Star Wars complete series. I actually ended up liquidating everything I had in there because it was too good to be true, and they were like a 7,000 rank. And so I just was like, I don't want to risk this. So
that's a bummer.
But like, you know, my VA isn't making those mistakes, which is so refreshing.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I understand, like, if you're just learning for the first time, like you finally find something, and then it's just like, no, that's a mistake.
Exactly. Or the other day we found light bulbs, and I'm like, this is way too good to be true. It's like $20 profit on this one light bulb. And then I finally scrolled down to number of items. It was 6. It was a 6-pack. And so.
Oh, the Amazon listing was a 6-pack?
Yeah. And
that's an easy one to fall into.
I'm like, if it's too good to be true, you really have to question it. Like, and so, yeah, I ended up, thank goodness, not buying all, you know, because I was going to go deep on that. I was like, $20 profit, and this sells consistently. So.
Yeah, just like put that money in the product instead of the stock market. Like just.
Right, exactly.
Just like 80% return. Like we like that. Yeah. So like, okay, so on that 250,000 and that 100,000, like what are you projecting profits to be? Like what margin are you kind of shooting for?
So I have like a strict 40% on each item. And so I'm shooting between 30% with like expenses and fees and everything like that.
So maybe so you're shooting for the margin to be 30%.
Yeah. It's kind of a tall order, but I think we can make it work. There's a couple items that I'm pretty happy about that are really going for higher profit. So, but we'll see. That's kind of the goal, at least.
So your minimum ROI that you're purchasing. So we'll just explain the terms for someone who just doesn't know Amazon. ROI is just return on investment. So let's say you purchase an item for $100 and we sell for $180, and then after fees, it's $140 that you get back, the money that you get back. That would be a $40 profit and a 40% ROI. And so, Amanda, what you're shooting for is a 30% margin on your sales. So that's like all expenses included. So 30% of that 250,000 would be profit. So that's like 75,000, right?
Yeah.
75,000 plus 30,000. So that'd be 100K. That'd be sick.
Yeah. That's yeah. And that is so doable with eBay to Amazon, I feel like. You
I
know,
agree.
I am in awe of like Joji and how he has like what 100% ROI. Like it's crazy, and it's just it's doable. I feel like.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and he was literally doing it as he was doing it part-time as well, which is a big deal.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, and I do this part time because I still do have my full time job that
Yeah.
I have to clock in 8 hours a day every
Yeah.
day,
So
which is
like what's your like how much time are you even able to put towards this?
so I work my 8 hours, and I still work about 8 hours a day on Amazon or Walmart.
A day?
Yeah,
So you do like 16-hour days?
yeah,
Grinding.
yeah. I do a lot. I get
Someone's
two. Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I get 2 hours to myself. I get 1 hour at my spin class, and then 1 hour in the hot tub with my husband at night, and that's it. Otherwise, I'm working.
That's a lot of work. And it's like a lot of times like a lot of things like this require a ton of work up front, and maybe it's like a year, 2 years, 3 years of like a lot of work up front, and then you kind of get over that critical mass and you're like, oh, like this is better than my full-time job. Like I'm able to do this full-time and like make some really, really good money with this. But it's like a lot of people get into this and they're like, how can I make like 5K a month on my like fourth month? And it's
Exactly.
like you're competing with people like Amanda who are doing this 8 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, I love it. And so like I know it doesn't feel like work. It's not grinding at a job. Like I hate my day job. I don't like it. Um, so then after my day job, I get to go and do something that I like. I'll go do shopping with, RA or whatever, or I'll reprice or I'll do whatever. Like I do the things that I enjoy. So, it is a lot of work, but I like it. I like the chase and the hustle of it all. So
And that's a great place to be. The freedom is a great, great place to be. Um, also curious, have you ever had thoughts of like being done with your full-time job? Like, what are your thoughts on like that whole thought process?
yeah, so my husband is in school full time. And so once he graduates, which is in December, once he graduates and gets a full time job, then I get to do this full time. I get to quit my day job. So it's just
Cool.
holding on until he can get full time, because his full time job, when he's done, will be double my income. So
Heck
I
yeah.
won't need to work.
That's great. And then maybe that'll free you up to also make double income. And then you'll be double income, double income.
Exactly. That's the goal, because I could do so much more. I could make more content. I could, do other things that I've just been putting off that I just don't have the time for. So I'm excited to be able to have that time. So
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I don't know, what are your thoughts on like reinvesting back into inventory versus paying yourself? Like, how do you deal with that?
I the first time I paid myself was this month. And I've been doing this for almost 2 years. So I just reinvest everything back in. But that's because I do have a full-time job, and that's what pays my bills. I don't rely on Amazon or Walmart to pay my bills. Um, and so this month we were able to pull a little bit out, but for the most part, it's all going right back into the business. Because I feel like
Yeah.
that's the only way for me to grow, is to just put it right back in.
Yeah. Because it's like, you can go the route of like, okay, I'm going to try to make my money like last as much as possible, but then you end up doing stuff like thrifting or garage sales, or like spending all of your time doing RA. And it's like you can kind of level up into better money making opportunities as you have more money. So like if you, let's say those light bulbs were a good opportunity, but like you had like $1,000 total, like are you going to buy like their whole stock? Like probably not.
Right.
So you can kind of like spread it out and go deeper on stuff when you have more money, which is a great place to be.
Yeah. When did you start paying yourself?
So the way that I got into this was I was a student getting my master's degree, and I was in my internship, and COVID happened. So COVID ended the internship indefinitely. I didn't know if it was going to be for 2 months, 3 months, a year. Goodness knows, I don't know. So I was like, I'm going to do, I was selling on eBay at the time. So I decided, let's try to do this full time. Liked it a lot more. But like that was kind of the source of income. So I kind of paid myself bare minimum, like tried to keep costs low and reinvest the rest back into the business for a long time. So I think maybe like last year I started paying myself quite a bit, but yeah, the more that you can reinvest and have into inventory that like turns yeah, the money is just so much better used in the business if you're trying to multiply it, and easier to make money if it's invested.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah.
And it's still hard. Like, let's say Inventory Lab says that you made $5K profit this month. It's hard to just go and pay yourself like the $5K, like, because in order to pay yourself the $5K and maintain your sales, you have to, like all the stuff that you bought last month that you spent inventory on has to actually like sell through. So if you bought slow moving stuff that didn't sell through, you're only going to have, let's say like 2, 3, 4K to pay yourself unless that slow stuff actually sold through in the right way. So, like you can pay yourself that full amount, but if you bought slow moving stuff, like you're going to be shrinking your business until that slow moving stuff sells off.
Right. Exactly. And that's a good way to put it, because I never really thought about that. So that's a good way to think about that.
So that's why you don't want to have slow moving stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We also don't want the fast selling stuff either. So it
needs to be the slow moving stuff that the ratio of sellers on the listing is right. Because that stuff is a good one.
Yeah. I know. I purchased a lot of this snowblower attachment like a month ago.
Okay.
But 𝗬𝗏 told me it sells every month.
Like once?
No, it sells like 6 or 7 times a month, which is still selling, but there's only 2 sellers on there, and it just rotated between the 2. And one wasn't the brand, and so I jumped on it, and it's selling, which surprises me that a snowblower attachment is selling in summertime.
Yeah, this is May right now for those who are watching in the future.
Yeah. I had ordered 10 and 6 of them had sold in 2 weeks. So I like those, like you just said, consistently throughout the month, but few sellers. So
yeah, honestly, like high ranked stuff is super underrated. Like if you're like sourcing Flipmine and you set your sales rank to 100K or lower, it's like, man, like that's why you can't find anything.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Yeah, but it's like you could also go way to the other extreme and just like have no sales rank, and then you just see like all this stuff that like doesn't move. Like you see like a couple like sales rank drops over the last like 5 years, and it's like, okay, like this is a problem.
Yeah. I like the no sales ranks where they're like the middle chart looks like it's selling all the time, but for some reason 𝗬𝗏's not tracking those. Like those are my sweet spots right now. Like I love those where everyone else is passing on them, but in reality it sells consistently.
And they sell quick sometimes.
Yeah. I get a little nervous how quickly they sell sometimes.
Yeah, because you're like, is this going to be some hot issue that Amazon is frustrated with?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I was just worried.
You're just worried?
Yeah, I always get worried about things like that where I'm like, okay, this checked in today and it sold today. Why? But you know what? I just take it, whatever.
Yeah. So how do you like deal with and look at Amazon kind of being a little bit of a, like there's so many like sellers who are super paranoid about getting suspended all the time. And like, I totally get that. So like, how do you deal with that anxiety that most of us have?
What I did is I jumped to OA. I was like, this is too much for me. I can't do this. I'm gonna do traditional OA, and I hated it. I didn't like it. But I think after researching and realizing that the people who get these Section 3s are making very risky buys. You know, they're going after items where the brand is on the listing. They're selling items that are like sell rank 130, you know, where it's just very risky. So I feel like if I'm doing all the things I've been doing, it'll work out, you know. But at the end of the day, if it does get me shut down, at least I still have Walmart. So I have a little bit of diversity there where I can just, if it happens, it happens. I'm still gonna just keep going. So
Yeah,
that's at least my 2 cents of it.
I felt like I slept a lot better at night once I got my my Walmart store opened, because I'm like, oh, like literally, especially like, yeah, I mean, like literally, if I'm doing merch fulfilled Amazon, I could literally list all my stuff on Walmart the next day.
Yeah.
And like, sucks about my payout, but like, that's like, I've sat down several times and been like, okay, like I have this amount invested into the business. This much is invested in inventory, which is not at Amazon. This much is invested into inventory, which is in the payout. That much I'm risking, and I'm making this much profit per month. Am I okay with this risk? Like, what is the actual chance of me getting suspended on a month-by-month basis? And am I willing to take this amount of profit for this much risk?
Right.
And so that's why I don't do like these little 25% ROI flips, because I'm like, then my payout is going to be this and my profit's going to be like this.
Right.
But if we're doing these 100% ROI flips or these 60% ROI flips, like suddenly it's very, very worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I like that you had a recent YouTube video where it was like, don't risk what you can't afford to lose. So like, and that's completely true. Like, I'm like, that's why I never go on credit card debt. That's why I never, you know, max out all of my credit cards. Because what happens if it does get shut down? Then you're a lot of debt.
Yep. Yeah. Basically, this is, I probably wouldn't suggest this, but basically when a couple years into selling on Amazon, I decided to scale pretty hard on credit. And my thought process was, well, my net worth is like 5K anyways. So if I got suspended with 80K of credit card debt, I go bankrupt. It's not like I have that much anyways. So I don't know if that was good logic or not, but it worked out. And I paid off my cards as fast as I could. And no more debt anymore for me. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I do use my like a credit card to use on my inventory, which I now have enough points that I can go on trips and stuff based on those points, which is like I feel very, very fancy about because I've never had points or spent that much money to be able to take advantage of it. So
yeah, and like you can credit cards are like you can. I think Cody flips. I think he made like 12K last year just off like credit card points.
That's crazy.
Like I think he does more regular OA. So he spends.
Oh yeah.
He spends more, but another thing that you can do too with credit cards, if you're spending a lot on like eBay to Amazon or online arbitrage or something, is if you haven't done the sign up bonuses for a lot of the Chase cards. I don't know if you've done those, but like they'll give like $500 to $800 for spending like 5K.
Wow.
Like opening a card.
Yeah.
So those were nice. Low key, the other side of it is now I think, like because I'm getting all these points, isn't my decision making a little bit skewed because I'm getting points for every purchase? But it's really hard to be like, okay, I'm going to spend $30,000 this month, and if it was at 2%, that's $600. I don't need my calculator for that. So am I going to pass up on $600 profit every single month?
Right. Right.
Or
Yeah,
is my
yeah.
better decision making, like, is it better decision making? I think so.
And I honestly don't calculate in my cash back or points or anything into the deal itself. Like some people do. They're like, well, this website gives me 7% cash back, plus it's a 10% coupon, plus it's this. Like, I don't do that. Like, I don't factor in that cash back as part of the ROI.
And eBay's garbage for that also, which
It's
makes more sense for us. Cause like usually I think a couple of times I've gotten 3% cash back, but usually it's like
1% if it's an
5%
approved
1%.
category.
Yeah, like but like some of these OA people will be like, okay, like Nike.com is like 12% off, and then like this discounted gift card is 8%. So my buy cost on this $40 sock or $40 shoe is like actually $30. But like sometimes they don't pay out. Sometimes that payout takes like 3 months to get back to you.
Yeah, it's true. So it's, yeah, I get that. But
and my favorite card for eBay to Amazon is the PayPal MasterCard, because that one gives 3.3. I think it's 3% on PayPal purchases.
Really? I have that one. I haven't been doing that. Maybe I should switch over.
That's a good one. I only have a 6K limit on it though. So it's like you hit the limit and then like it takes like a couple weeks sometimes for your balance to go down. So it's like, and you're like, okay, like I paid the card. Like, can I spend it again, please?
Yeah. And that's also the thing that I struggle with the most is my normal Chase credit card only has a 6,000 limit, or no, it's a 4,000 limit. So like I can spend that in like 3 days. It's like paying it off, then ranking, so I definitely need to get an increased limit. But have you ever done the Amazon lending? Have you ever borrowed money from the Amazon lending program?
Yep. A couple of years ago, I did a $52,000 one.
Wow.
And that was, it's a good way to get some money if you've gone through your 0% APR card option. So 0% APR, basically for those who don't know, is credit cards. When you open a new card, they sometimes have an offer where you can have no interest on the balance that you've purchased. Not like financial advice at all, but like they'll give you like a 3K limit or a 15K limit or a 20K limit, and you can just literally have a balance for 12 months, 18 months. And so literally that's just another like 10K that you can have in your Amazon business for like a year. So I would strongly suggest doing those if you are going to do credit, because that's like, you don't have to worry about like, oh, I need to pay this back in 30 days, because it's hard to flip stuff in like that quick.
It is, yeah.
But if you have a year, like that's helpful.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I've taken the Amazon lending a few times, and I always think it's so beneficial. I mean, it's only been like 4,000 or 5,000. So, but that's enough for me to get another jump in the game,
Yeah.
I personally don't need like 50,000. So 4,000 is enough for me, And
it's nice. It probably works like this for you too, but they just take it out of your payout automatically. Which is that super convenient. Like you don't have to stress about paying it back. Now, if you're running everything too tight and you needed that money, like you're running things too tight. But
I agree. I've gotten really low on my cash flow, but I've always been able to like finagle a few $100 extra here or there until the next payout, but like I said, I have my day job, and so I don't need to live off of my Amazon money, which is probably a huge difference between me and a lot of other people who don't have the day job and have to rely on this money as their income. So, which I cannot imagine the stress that is. I can't imagine. So,
Yeah, a lot of people do push for like, oh yeah, you should quit your job and do this full time. And there's pros and there's cons to it. But yeah, it definitely makes your cash flow like a lot more stressful. Like you have to like, yeah, especially like it's a lot different between someone who's like a 20-year-old living with their parents doing Amazon and they're scaling and they have time to reinvest money back into the business and pay themselves what they need versus someone who has like adult bills and like a mortgage and like kids and stuff. It's like the bar to entry, like if you need to make like 2K a month, okay, cool. The bar is like pretty low. But like if your lifestyle is like, yeah, I need like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month in order to make Amazon work, that I have to pay myself.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna be like that's just kind of hard to do. Like you can do it for sure, but like the person who can make the 2K a month will be able to do it full time, but someone who needs 8K a month, it's just like it's gonna take a while. Like you have to be like pretty good to make 8K a month.
Yeah, like I need only 3,000. Like 3,000 will replace my day job's income. It's more actually. But I feel like 3,000 is so doable, you know.
You could do that with books.
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely do that with books. Which I would love to get back into now that we're like talking about it, and I love yard sailing too. So I wanted to hit up a couple yard sales this weekend, but it was kind of rainy. But I think there's just so much potential there. So yeah, definitely. I like that idea.
Yeah. But it's like books do take a long time. Like I want to go to the thrift store and like scan books and like renew my Scoutly or something and like try and find some books. And I'm like, wait, like if I spend an hour here that I could have done doing eBay to Amazon, it's like I lost money, like opportunities.
And a lot of it too is like my physical, like my back cannot handle books. Like I've been having the worst back problems for like 2 years now. And so I physically can't do books. Like I would love to, because every time I go to a thrift store, I come out with like 20 to 30 books every time. And so, but I just physically can't do it. Which is really sad because I want to, but
yeah. Like, is it a problem like when you're lifting like 20, 30 pounds, or is it a problem like even with like 5, 10 pounds of books?
It's mainly the bigger ones, like 30, but I don't know. I do have my husband
that. What's that?
I do have my husband help a lot. So that is it too. But it's just the repetitive, like moving a book over here and just kind of.
Yeah. And then like you have to like grab these big books, like palm them sometimes. And it's like, like my hands were like super rough. Like when I did books, it was like, oh my gosh, like my nails took like 6 months to resolve, like to get back to normal.
Exactly. I know. I feel like Joji and Victor have it made with a prep center. I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
But they're not thrifting, so it's different.
What do you think of that business model? Basically, the model that Joji and Victor do, they basically purchase books Amazon to Amazon. They find times where the book is lower in price than it has been in a long time, and they see historically that it always recovers back to a certain point, and they purchase the book, send it into a prep center, and then they list it for that price, and in 3, 4, 5 months it sells for the right price. What do you think of that business model?
I think it's fascinating. I think it's taking the data and using the data against itself, which I find so interesting. I wish I could learn more about it, and I probably will before, the Books and Beyond Summit, or is it a summit? I don't know, but the conference or whatever. So I just think it's exciting. It's interesting. I think it's something new, or not new, but like not very many people are doing it. But I find it interesting and fascinating. Is it something I'm going to apply in my business? Probably not. But that doesn't mean it's awesome and I love it. So
yeah, I feel like I'm in the same boat. It's like something that I like want to do, but it's like, do I need to do like a third or fourth thing right now?
Right.
Like, I think it's perfect for someone who has been relatively successful with books and has extra capital, to like use their money, like instead of like, oh, like I need to like scan like 500 books in order to find a $30 profit book. Like, I'm just buy some $30 profit books.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's exciting what they're doing. And so I just enjoy, like, I enjoy watching them succeed and watching them build this, you know, software and then, you know, talking about it. So I love it. I love watching them do it. So
speaking of different business models, what do you think of the software business game that they're that's the whole new level?
I mean, for which, what do you mean?
Well, specifically with Joji and Victor, and then like yeah, there's just several people in this space playing the software game, and the software game is really profitable as well.
Yeah,
it's a longer term play though, that's for sure.
I was talking to one of these big gurus a couple years ago at the Miami South conference, and they said they don't make their money on Amazon. They make their money in softwares. And so that's what you got to do, is you got to build your Amazon business to where you're basically reputable and know what you're talking about. And then you get in on a software and invest in there. And then, you know, like, I just was like, that's so smart, you know, like, and so that's what Steve Ricken is also doing. That's what Joji's doing. And I'm like, I need to get in with someone who's doing a Walmart software, because there's no softwares for Walmart. But
Walmart HIPAA, Walmart bookkeeping. Okay, like literally, how do you bookkeep your profit on Walmart? Like, do you sit there with like your calculator and like, okay, like my buy cost was 53 and I sold for 163 and my fees? Like, do you just sit there with a calculator for every single item?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, I've got I use SellerGrate. And so that tells me what my profit is. So I'm still learning that one, but I think it's pretty good. It's very similar to Seller Board.
SellerGrate.
Yeah. SellerGrate. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
It has like an 8 as the, yeah.
And it's free. And so I don't know how it's free, because it integrates with my Walmart. So, but that's the only way. I was going line by line, like inputting like cost of goods, minusing the fee, minus shipping, because I was doing only seller fulfilled at that point.
Yeah.
And it was tedious. I'm like, I'm going to have to hire a whole new virtual assistant just to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if it's like, if it's lower ASP too, especially because it's like, all right, like I sold this item for like this $17 cat food.
Yeah.
And then it also got returned. Oh shoot.
Yeah. Because a lot of times they return it in the store, so then I have to pay back. I have to pay the shipping to bring it back to me. So that's also a pain. So.
Yeah.
Versus them sending it back. So, but you know, it's just all learning this Walmart platform. Really, it's hopefully things sell and hopefully they sell for a good profit. So, but my margins are a lot smaller on Walmart. I'm looking at like a 20%. So I need to increase that, because I have hardly any subscriptions for Walmart. So I don't have a lot of expenses. So that's where I kind of am like, okay, I can take the less ROI right now.
Oh, so you see that you have more room, and so you're taking less ROI basically.
Yeah. And my first goal on Walmart was to get the pro seller badge, which is these 7 different criterias. And I was meeting 6 of the 7. And the last one I wasn't making was 250 orders in 90 days. Like, I kept missing that one. So I was just kind of sending in anything for even break even, just to get past that benchmark. Because I just was like, because then with the pro seller badge, you get the buy box better. And so that's just kind of what I had to do for a month or two. which kind of sucks, but you know what? That was important to me. So
did you end up getting it?
I did get it. I get it tomorrow.
Good. Congrats.
I have all the checks there, so I'm pretty excited about it.
You'll be WFS and post seller.
Yeah.
Nobody can sell above you.
No one. Let's do it.
Well, so many of these listings though, like there's so few sellers on it that merchant on Walmart does get it in a lot of situations.
Yeah. And I'm going to start looking into doing Amazon to Walmart. So taking advantage of Amazon Lightning deals, and where Amazon just like is trying to liquidate essentially and then flip it on Walmart. So that's typically where I see that going.
So do you feel like a lot of your Walmart's going to be that, and then a lot of your Amazon will be eBay to Amazon probably?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't want to do RA for Walmart. I just kind of started it to see how it goes. But it's just really a lot of time. And creating a listing on Walmart takes a lot of time. It takes me about 8 hours to list 100 products, which is a lot.
To create new listings?
Not create a new listing, just to list it under a pre-existing account and then converting it into WFS. So it's like a 4-step process to get it sent out the door.
I'm curious if these prep centers are going to be able to do that profitably.
I wonder that too. That's why I'm willing to work with Arturo and figure out how this will work, because it's not as easy and straightforward as Amazon.
Yeah. But I could also see it, like if a prep center got really good at it, then they systemized it. There's going to continue to be Amazon sellers pouring over into Walmart, I think, over the next few years.
I agree.
Because Amazon does get a little bit more tyrannical by the day.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I already know
3
people who have quit Amazon and are on Walmart full time. Like they liquidated their Amazon and they're done. They're full Walmart.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And honestly, though, for context, I think Amazon the last several months has been like, if we were to look over the last like 3 years, I think Amazon has been like a big high uptick of ridiculousness the last several months. Like this is around the time, for people who are watching this back, they gated Nike for new sellers, which is unfortunate and then also kind of funny a little bit.
Yeah.
But like they're just doing stuff like that. They regated Adidas. They restricted Clinique. What else did they restrict? They're just like restricting like a bunch of stuff. Like you can't even apply for it anymore. Just a lot of that. The whole Section 3 stuff is going on. Like I've heard of regular OA sellers, or at least I hope they're regular OA sellers and they weren't purposely selling counterfeits. Like, bro, like Alibaba is not a legit supplier for Stanley's.
No.
I'm curious how many of these people are like doing that. Like, or are they actually legit, like honest sellers, like, oh my gosh, I'm a victim, I got hit by Section 3, and they actually like were like, it would be interesting to know for sure. But
yeah, there was this lady that I met at the Miami Star Conference, and she got kicked off because she sold a fake product, but her source was Temu.
Oh,
that is not she's like, but the ROI was like 130% and it was 129 sales rank. And I'm like, that's why.
Man. Well,
that's why you can't buy from Temu, Alibaba, all these.
No. Yeah, I'm curious how many of these people who are getting Section 3, like it was that happened. I'm curious if they purposely did it or if they just didn't know. It's all good. We'll have a cat that'll jump up here every once in a while, but yeah, it's just hard to know. But
right, it is. But I'm like, at the same time, like that's why Section 3s are being handed out is because people are making those mistakes where I'm like common sense isn't so common. Like my sister loves Temu. I would never purchase from Temu, either personally or professionally. So yeah, it just blows my mind. Like, that's why you got a Section 3.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that makes sense. That's honestly, just have some common sense and you'll probably be fine. If you go after this super fast selling stuff, like, it's just higher risk. And if you're doing eBay to Amazon where you don't have invoices, you need to like take extra precautions because like you are running it without invoices. So even just like ethically, it's like, okay, like I want to purposely avoid stuff where I'm going to have to like, I don't want to be selling fake stuff either.
Right.
Even like I just really don't want to. So.
Right. Yeah. Right. I never have any intention of selling fake stuff. Like, so if it does happen, then I'm obviously just as upset as like the person who received it. I'm pretty sure I have sold fake items. There was a comment on one of the reviews is like, this DVD kept skipping and pausing and would blink in and out. And I'm like, thanks.
All right, let's remove that off Amazon with the clicks. We don't want this to sell again.
Yeah, it was the Star Wars complete series. That's what it was. And so I just recalled all those back. I'm like, I knew that one was too good to be true. So
it happens. Yeah,
it does. So
yeah. All right, well, probably last question, because I've already kept you on for like an hour. I appreciate if you guys are this far in the podcast, it's a good sign that you're going to enjoy Amanda, her channel. So definitely go give her a sub. But what is your plan for how you're going to do 250,000 and 100,000 on Walmart? Like, what needs to change? What needs to grow? Like, what systems need to go in place? Like, what's the plan?
I just need to buy more. So I'm hoping to earn a little bit more income, whether it's from like coaching or doing a little bit of side hustle work as well. But at the end of the day, it's about spending more money. And I think I'm going to start going after higher profit, higher ROI, and not these like lower hanging fruits. Because I would like to increase my ASP to a little higher so things sell for higher. I've been purchasing these items. It's like a plumbing item for like $300 on eBay and selling them for $650 on Amazon. They sell very quickly, but I'm dreading the day it gets returned.
Don't worry.
Huh?
Don't worry about it.
So that's kind of what I want to go after. I want to go the higher ticket items. Because those higher ticket items have less fees, they have higher profits, higher margins. And if they're big and bulky and oversized, I don't have to deal with them because I have a prep center. So just send them to the prep center. So, and that is what held me back for a long time was I don't want to deal with this big bulky box, but if I have a prep center that deals with it, that's kind of nice. So that's my goal.
On the return side too, like instead of doing, let's say it was a $30 ASP item instead of a 300. Well, you said 600. So let's say it was a 30, like that's, what is that? Like 20 items to equal that $600 sale.
Right.
So you would have had to deal with maybe like 3, 4, 5 returns instead of like the one return. And you just do that.
Yeah.
And then you're done. Like,
yeah. And I've been also liking to, I think you or 𝗖cie do this. I saw one of your guys' sourcing videos was you buy the quantity of 4 or 5 of the same seller. I've been doing that a lot lately just because it just makes sense. If you buy, I'd rather buy 5 items of the same thing if it's all good numbers and then versus trying to find 4 or 5 more items. So
yeah. I think that's 𝗖•cia's strategy a lot. I love to find those ASINs myself too, but I don't target them as much as 𝗖cie does. I guess the way I see it is per each order, I want there to be as much potential profit as possible. So I guess I don't care if it's like, let's say like the plumbing item, like you buy for 300, sell for 650, and that's like 280 profit. Like that's a $280 profit in an order, but that's one unit. But let's say you purchased 5 units, but they're only $20 profit each. Like the $280 potential profit is better than the $100 profit.
Yeah.
But if it's 5 units and it's like $60 each, like we like that.
Right. Exactly.
Or if they're like $10 profit each, cool, and you get like 20 of them, like that's awesome.
Yeah. That's always nice too. But yeah, I would rather, I'd rather have lower quantity and higher quality type things.
Yeah.
I don't need 1,000 ASINs. I'm okay with having 200 solid, good, high returning ASINs. So
yeah, part of me sometimes wants to just be like so selective where I'm like, okay, like this ASIN needs to be 5